Our first panel this morning is the voices of survivors in addressing trauma in the research and recovery of missing children. And I know this is going to be difficult, but we'd like to ask Lavinia Brown to please make her way in. There she is. She's from Rankin Inlet, and her bio is in the book that you received in your bags. I think those bags are amazing, right? The swag bags that we got, I think they were amazing. So let's give the organizers a big round of applause for just making sure that we had tissues in that bag, first of all. And we would also like to call up Mr. William Osborne. William Osborne. Oh, there he is. Hey, William, how are you? He's from Pimachikamak, Cross Lake, a northern boy. So when our third panelist makes his way here, we'll bring him on stage. Already? And so we're going to ask Lavinia to start first. And what she's going to share is her version, how she deals with this type of trauma in her community and how she helps others deal with trauma and how she advises as an elder, how she advises the work that this organization does. And she was there when the TRC was traveling and touring and doing all that work. I saw that. I saw her dedication to the community. So I just want to give Andrew and Lavinia a big round of applause for the work that they have done and ensuring that our voices are heard. Chimiigwech. Lavinia, you're next.
Ila, ublakum.
You can sit down if you want to.
I have choice. I could sit down
She can sit down. You don't really necessarily. This is
beside these two handsome gentlemen. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Come.
Come, Andrew. Come
Yeah.
over here.
Okay.
Yeah, come on. Sit in the middle there beside your brothers. Over here.
Thank you. Good morning. Wah, hoyan namin. Wakad lang ah. Iksibo tao titang makisunga. Alayanin. Taikwa mane titakaw yo hoyan namin talo ka. Ayung itu alin. Inugtigut ta ayung itu alo yon. Ayung it sakaya kakapta. Sibul relautawun. Ayung itu alo lautun. Good morning. What I heard the drummers were drumming, very honoring, and I say to them, congratulations for a job well done, and I'm proud of them, and I'm also saying to my nation, we have something to be proud of too. We have to mingle and mix with our southern relations all across Canada. Our ancestors were achievers, so much achievers that we're here today. And to begin with, I say good morning to each and every one of you, and thank the organizations, the two of them that are partnering, for inviting me. They have certainly helped me a long way to do some work for our nations. And there's other members of the Truth and Reconciliation, the National Center. I'd like for the Inuit Nation to stand up, please. Inuit Nation, there they are down there. Thank you for being here. We must never forget, in this country known as Canada, the indigenous people were here first. In our land of Nunavut, we were there first. Yes. And we welcome everybody. Our ancestors were very grateful. We welcome everybody so much. We have a gold mine. It's called Anigo Eagle Gold Mine. I'm very proud of that. That's why I'm mentioning it, because we have a cabin 3 miles from that gold mine, a cabin. I sit up there on the hill, look at the lights from the gold mine, and particularly clock, she's saying downtown, and that gold mine looks like a downtown to me. So we like to work in partnership too. I wanted to do a little teaching about Damautik, because I'm so proud of my culture, so should everybody be proud of their own culture. Every culture of the world have uniqueness. Yes. The Inuit nations were intelligent and creative for their survival. So this amauti I'm wearing is for ceremonial. That's why it's made up so pretty. In the days, they were all skin, and yet they could be designs too, made out of caribou skin, 2 sets for the woman. One inside touching the skin, the other side, the skin is outside. Two like this. It's very cold up in Canada's north, sometimes -50 and -60 below. Our moms, they were very, very intelligent, clever to make these, to develop these. There's a full meaning, a purpose why they're made like this. Usually, the arms are big on either side. It's for a purpose. And the hood is big and wide. There's a purpose for that too. For thousands of years, it was used only skins, and the skins were quite stiff, not like these. The Europeans started coming maybe over 200 years ago. They start trading with fur, all kinds of fur, and we got these beads and materials. So the women made these type so the baby could rest in there. The hood was meant to have oxygen and air flowing to the baby. At the same time, mother is nice and warm. And the purpose also is because they're on a dog team, long ways. The mother, the wife can't just order her husband, please stop, I have to change my baby, I have to feed my baby. No, that didn't happen. The mother was very considerate of her husband. So was the man very considerate of his wife and family. He was the provider. The men had their own skills. The women had their own skills. So we never heard for thousands of years the baby is too hot or too cold or smothered. Never. There was a constant heat because of the hood. And the big arms here was to maneuver the baby from the back to the front, all in there, and bring the baby into the front to nurse the baby, breastfeed the baby either way, without stopping the dog team, without putting the brakes on. She was not in control. So they had to reach their destination. I was born out on the land, and there was nothing. No houses, no government services, no doctors, no nurses. women were midwives of their own, even the men. My father delivered me. So I just wanted to do that little teaching about the Amautic, how important it is. Everything the Inuit people had a purpose for thousands of years. And I'm so proud to be Inuk, even though growing up sometimes there was hurtful things happening in residential schools, very bad things. But each one of us, we loved each other because we knew how much they were suffering, how much we were suffering. We knew that among each other. My eyebrows were saved, like taken right off. I have pictures to show you, but I don't have them on the screen. I should have had been teased, bullied, and made to cry. No. My fellow Inuit didn't do that. They never teased me about having no eyebrows. So I never felt bad about having no eyebrows because I didn't get teased. For me, I thought that was normal. The teachers did that to me. There's a lot of things that I could go on and carry on and talk about because there was a lot of hurts, a lot of pains, a lot of sufferings. And we have the highest number of suicide rates in Nunavut. 11% on the average of this country. 11%. And one story I want to tell, because it relates to the residential school, was I was 17 years old when the federal government recruited young Aboriginal people, Indigenous people, like from northern Manitoba, northern Saskatchewan, northern Ontario, and from Nunavut. There were 3 of us from Nunavut. The army, military army, was pulling out of Fort Churchill, Manitoba. 3 of us young girls, and I was the youngest. And here I thought federal government rule was that once you're 18, that's when you become adult. I wasn't even 18. They took me and put me to work. I have no regrets. I got good training from the military army. My post was in the emergency ward. Yeah. I got hired on BC, Alberta, Manitoba, in hospitals because of my emergency training. But I never ever gained a title, like registered nurse, what I wanted to be all the time. No, wasn't good enough. So in our post at emergency ward, when we weren't busy, we went to other wards to help out. We often helped out in a maternity ward where there were newborns and little nursery for the babies to rest, up to about 10 babies in there, maybe more. One night, middle of the night, I'm sitting on the armchair feeding a little baby glucose, water, and the nurse is right across from me. She's changing the baby in the bassinet. I'm looking at her. She's got a nice cap with 2 black stripes, meaning she's registered nurse. And I looked at her. I adored her. I said to myself, oh, I wish I could be like her. I wish I was with her, be like her. Then I said to myself, no. I just hugged the baby close to me. I said to myself, nah, I could never be like that. It was never good enough. Yeah. Why couldn't I be myself? Why? Throughout the years I worked in emergency, I started to have personal growth development because I worked with all kinds of professionals, and I was always among elders. Elders made me the way I am today. And We had lots of siblings. The only one who developed diabetes, you know what diabetes is all about. Again, I say, why me? So anyway, I got through all those hurdles, those many, many challenges. And I stand in front of you today because there are many good people that seem to coax me along, seem to guide me. By you, many people. My boyfriend. Oh, he said later. Lastly, from Inuit culture from thousands of years ago, their tradition is to match babies, to be married. There was a reason for that. I was matched to be, have a husband when I was 7 months old. I don't think it was meant to be, but it turned out to be that way. And my sisters always tease me, saying, oh, look at little Lavinia, you have already a future husband. Him I never met in another community. His older siblings teasing him, oh, you got an Eskimo wife waiting for you. Things like that, you know. And when you're growing up, you don't want a husband. You don't want kids. You're too busy trying to be beautiful. So when I met my husband to be 17 years old, I looked at him and said, oh no, I don't want to be married. Not to him. Our parents knew what they were doing. 58 years later, we're together. I was never going to have children, 10 children. My older sister, we all thought mother didn't understand English. I learned this from my older sister. She says, oh, I like that. We were young. Oh, I like that guy so much. I just love him. I could die for him. She's saying that. Mother appeared in Inuktitut. She said, it's very severe to say, I could just die. It's just a phrase, maybe in another language, but in Inuktitut, it's very severe because my mother said to my sister, how are you going to die being in love? Then me, when I already had met my future husband, you know what I said, eh? No, I tried to ignore him. And then we're in a dance hall, and I'm with a group of friends, my girlfriends, and I said, oh, look at that guy. Oh, no, I'll just die if he looks at me. But I never did so, and I never forced any issues. Today, I could say we're happily married. We're both retired. Today, I could say I have a title which I wanted when I was very young. I'm Dr. Lavinia Brown. We lived here in Treaty 1 land for 6 years. 2004 to 2014, around there, 6 years. And I met a lot of First Nations, a lot of you, a lot of nurses and doctors, everybody. They made me grow, yes. And I thank the University of Manitoba for the rest of my life, I'm standing in front of you known as Doctor. Thank you.
Hey, that's amazing. So let's give her another big round of applause. I was busy taking notes about how to be married to the same man for that long. Like, oh my God, that deserves another round of applause. Our next speaker is from the Métis Federation, Mr. Andrew Carrier. So Lavinia, can you pass the mic over to Andrew, to your boyfriend?
Well, thank you very much. We'll kiss later, okay?
Yeah, 'cause this is a family show.
It's a family show. Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Carrier. I'm the minister responsible for residential schools for the Manitoba Métis Federation. First of all, please accept my apologies. As a father of a 10 and 11-year-old, I had the responsibility to take him to school, make sure they get to school on time and everything else, causing me a little bit late, so please accept my apologies on that. And as I was listening to Dr. Brown, it was just amazing. I also spent 8 years in the military, and I was stationed in Fort Churchill, as a matter of fact, doing some work up north for a little while. So we may have encountered, maybe I saw you at a dance floor with your husband, and just looking with envy. So we're here today to certainly hear about our survivors, our stories as to how we overcome several challenges. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Andrew Carrier. As I said earlier, I'm 64 years old, and I had an opportunity to go to a Catholic school here in Winnipeg. And so at the age of, so we started school at grade 6 in grade, to start your first grade. And then come grade 2, I was 7 years old. And the Catholic school really wanted to teach you a lot about Catholicism, about the Bible and Jesus and so on and so forth. And one thing about the Métis, we're really religious, really grounded to spirituality. Thank you to our First Nations relatives on that. And so as we learn more about catechism and about Jesus and so on and so forth, it was just amazing how the school system on day 1 in grade 2, as we lined up in school, they wanted to make sure that they knew who was in charge. And so what they did was they separated the class between, as I didn't know, but 3 different categories. So on the one side, we were the dark-skinned Métis. You got to remember, come September, we're at our darkest for the season. And so we're on the right side. And on the left side were the blondes and the white-skinned students. And in the middle, there were some brown hairs and so on and so forth. So on day 1, we were introduced as this. On the left, or facing the teacher, were all the devils. And then, interestingly enough, I was one on the devil side. And the angels and the whites they were called the angels. And in the middle, they call them purgatory. So all of a sudden, the introduction to religion came to mind. And unfortunately, as we progress, and a lot of questions, when it comes to catechism and so on and so forth, and we started asking questions. And one of the things about being the devil of the class, the Métis, that were on the right-hand side of the class, we never got attention from the teachers. We were pretty much ignored, and whenever we had a question, we weren't answered. We were chastised. We were to be left alone, but we certainly got a lot of the cards that showed that we're going to burn in hell. So whenever we tried to ask questions, there were angel cards and there were devil cards, and finally, starting to come to realize that a form of segregation was happening in class. So at the age of 7, I asked a question as to why Jesus only had a loincloth. He was on the cross in class, and we got a sermon about not little boys shouldn't be looking at naked women, and little girls should not be looking at naked men, and otherwise they will burn in hell, and so on and so forth. So all of a sudden, this question started happening, and I started challenging the teacher, the nun, and I was sent to the principal. And in our school, called Saint Marie, it was a class, and at the end of the school was actually the church area. So you walked down the hallway, and you went straight into church. So I was brought there by the teacher to confess my sins to the priest, and it's really unfortunate when I want to think about this for a second. 7 years old, how small you are. So, thank you. So when speaking to the priest, he started fantasizing about what I was talking about, and he started to make comments and so on and so forth. And you got to remember, 7 years old, you're intrigued, you're nervous, you're scared, and so in about 30 minutes, he had sexually molested me. Afterwards, I got so scared. I went back to the classroom, and the teacher had an opportunity to see what he had done. In the process of getting cleaned up, the nun was saying things like "tu bâtard," "tu diable," and so I took it for the fact that she was talking about me. The reality about it, all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is that an incident and going home with no support. My father was not around. I was told by my mom she didn't want me to talk about it. As a matter of fact, I got a slap. Je peux pas parler. So when we're talking about survivors, the impact. For the rest of that year, interestingly enough, I failed grade 2. I was told not to speak to anybody about it, so it was a secret between the priest, the nun, and my mom. And my father came back and found out. And we proceeded to go to another school. This other school helped me along with I had failed grade 2. I couldn't focus. I couldn't pay attention. And so years of therapy. I consider myself a lucky one for getting away. However, just to know that one impact tarnishes your whole life. Feelings of insecurity, feelings of unworthiness, and it took 50 years or more to come to a stage where we had to speak out. For years, when I talked to family and friends, pretty much call a liar. No, this could have never happened to a 7-year-old. But it happens every day where children are abused. It happens currently in certain countries and different institutions. And we as a parent have to do a better job. As a matter of fact, for years of counseling and therapy, I'm better now. I have 2 little boys, 10 and 11-year-old, and I have adult children from my former previous marriage. And I protected them tremendously. But just to know that the impact of a trauma can never let it go. As a matter of fact, last night I had a dream. I had a dream about my grandfather who came to me. Walked side by side. Just to finalize my grade 2, many years later, as I graduated from high school, I had a chance to look at my elementary records. Interestingly enough, the grade 2 teacher protected the situation by saying that I was mentally disturbed and I should be put into the mental developmental center. How do you get rid of children who try to speak out or act out? It's very challenging. But like Dr. Brown, the military saved my life, provided me with the value and discipline, taught me leadership, and taught me respect of our culture, our Métis culture. I came a little late this morning. Maybe it's because it's a Métis tradition. Our First Nations and the Inuits were here first, and I applaud them. But being Métis, we have our own language, our own culture, and it's grace of Kokum and Mushum. It's grace of Meme and Pepe, because we took the best of our different cultures and made it our own. Some say we're not Indian enough, and some say we're not white enough. But the reality is that we are Indigenous, and we have immense connection with our Kokum and Hamushum. We are people of the earth. We are survivors. So please hug your children. Tell them you love them. Protect them. Be good.
Dr. Brown, you better not be giving him your room number. I just want to share a quick story about the drum. Most of us in this room are ceremony drum people, hey? And I have an adopted brother who's Cato from Oklahoma City, and he's a Pentecostal minister. And before he opens up his church every day, he uses the big drum to call his people. That's what he uses. And so I asked him, why do you do that? And he says, well, I've been on a quest, if you will, of why Indian people become so happy when they hear the big drum or hear a drum. And so what he told me was that he went to go see a Sundance person, a powwow person, a drum keeper, all these people, and he wasn't happy with the answer that he was given. And so he said, I'll ask Creator, I'll ask God. So that night, that's what he prayed for. He wanted to know the reason. And then when he woke up the next day, he got his answer. And what he was told was that the skin of the big drum is like when Jesus gave his life for the people. So the sound of the big drum, because that animal gave of its life, to remind us of the value of life. And so that's why he used that big drum, because that big drum reminds us of the value of life every single time. So, that's important. And I was just saying to Andrew, what's beautiful about this day is that he gets to pick up his boys at school, and he gets to love them and put them to bed tonight. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. So I want to thank Andrew for his testimony this morning. Let's give him a big round of applause. Show him our love, everybody. Our next speaker is Mr. William Osborne from Pimachikamak Cree Nation. So he's going to share his version of why these days are so important, but also how he shares his work with trauma on his community. So take it away, William.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge the pipe and acknowledge the fire, the drum, acknowledge our women, our home fires. Sometimes when I'm asked to speak, that tobacco is so important. It's sacred law. I asked for that tobacco this morning, and I received it. Once I received it, I started praying, not for me, but for our fires, our women, because that's where you got your name, your spirit name from. Iskutewak, in short, Iskwewak, in short, Iskwew. Without a woman, culture dies. Without a woman, culture dies. Without that fire, life is cold and we die. En anas como utawid, for blessing me such a heavy gift, but a good one. And an ask him for allow me to share and to shed a few tears for all the pain and the suffering and the trauma that we all face, that we all feel in our home communities, in ourselves. When I started praying about coming here, Little did I know I was going to be asked to speak. But that's the way Creator works when you work for Creator. He doesn't tell you what you're going to do. He makes you do it. I walked in here the other day. I was asked to fill in the panel. As a human being, I said, what do you want me to say? Or talk about the title. What's this conference about? As a human being, I was asking those questions. But that was my mind that was telling me all that. At that very moment, I forgot about my spirit. And so it is with all of us. When I share my teachings, my talks, I have this famous title that was given to me by an elder long time ago. The greatest and the longest journey is to be able to walk away from your mind to your heart. That is the journey that we have today. That is the journey that we have had since day one. That is the journey that we still have today. That is what we're fighting, our mind. Sometimes we forget when our loved one passes on that death, the word death, teaches us to be kind and to love one another. We quickly, like a flash, leave our minds into our hearts as we come together as one people, one community, and how quickly we help each other, and how quickly we hug each other. That is the way Creator wanted life to be on earth. So death teaches us, reminds us how precious that gift of life is. In my prayer, I asked, what should I share with my brothers and my sisters? A lot of dreams of the past came back to me, and they were made understood of what they meant. When COVID hit 2 years ago, my grandpa in my dream showed me, from an eagle perspective, I seen people like black little figures, like ants running around, not knowing what to do. My grandpa in my dream said to me, "No sim, beagwan aski, beagwan nipi, beagwan Pimatishiwan. Mamoga matok. Mamoota matok. Oshim. My grandson, there's only one land, one water, one life. Work together, support one another. It's the closest translation I can use in this foreign language that I'm using. The other dream that's coming to me to share with you is a dream about my community. It was dark, darker than the darkness. But I was walking. I knew where I was going. I came across a causeway to an island park. And then my grandpa says, "Grandson, tell these people to pray." So I looked to my left. I seen people sitting there. I seen their fires, but their fires could not be seen in that darkness. They could not see their own fires. So I started saying, "Ayamiak, Ayamiak, Ayamiak," as I am walking. Pray, pray, pray. At the far end, I came across an old man who was fooling around and not listening. So I slapped him on the head and said, "You're told to pray. Pray." Okay. Then my grandpa said, "Grandson, look to the sky." So I looked to the northeast. I seen a glimpse of a video like of recreation. He says, "Grandson, this will not give you light." Another glimpse of a video like of education. He says, "This will not give you light." Another glimpse of Christianity and religion. He says, "This will not give you light." And I seen the politics as well. He says, "This will not give you light." All these four things were coming down like a rainbow. Then as I'm looking down, I see the water. As pure as it was many, many years ago, before hydroelectric dams destroyed our land and waters. I could see the shining, I could see right to the bottom. And I see something coming up. I'm sure it wasn't a fish. I see something coming. And once it came to the surface, that was a pipe. Spogan. My grandpa says, "Grandson, this will give you light." Darkness disappeared. I could see the sun. I could see the sparkles on those trees. And I could see the thunderbirds going away with their voices and songs. And I could hear the birds all singing beautifully. And I could see the green grass. I could see everything. As I was about to pick the pipe up that water, I almost fell off the bed and I woke up. You see, that pipe represents that water. Every time you light up your pipe, you're giving water to the people. You're giving life to the people. But it must be gifted to you. It must be gifted to you. In saying this, I want to do a little prayer because that's what my grandpa wants me to do. And I have to listen to him. I had my own thoughts of what I wanted to say, but my grandpa says otherwise. And he wants me to pray because there's so much happening in our home communities at this very moment. Wakes after wakes after wakes after wakes. And all those other negative energies. I'll ask my grandpa to bless each and every one of you. Atanse, Lutawi, Ninoma, Papamu Tewa Tamanishane Wendo. Kinash Kumit Nanutka Gisiga. As a wedding matsi, Isagi Wewin. Kinash Kumit and Gavit Bego. Pagkatamo yung gaminian. Ano tawi, minagita to siya naganak. Uteo siya, kami no sigaski. Penajit so, utay siya. Utagay siya mama hopyak. Kaga na kita pa pepa wapa wat siya na shenyo. Utay wak, utachakwa. Mami tunay siya niya, uya. Tawi naga tisichik. Tawi mina maatiuchik, tawi minachik. Tawi minenemchik. Tapuegichik, naskum. In my prayer I said, Creator, send down your spirits to come and help us at this very moment. And brush off every person's heart, spirit, mind, and body, so that there will be light. So that they will have life today. Not too long ago, I attended a conference like this, but I stayed at that hotel and I was able to go to the pipe ceremonies. In that ceremony that I went to, I sat down beside that elder and 3 other people that came there. In that ceremony, as I was closing my eyes, and in that prayer, I seen a pipe come walking in air into that circle. And my grandpa said to me, "No, Shim, this is what it means to have the pipe lead the way. All people should be sitting in a circle. All people should be allowed to talk. All people should be allowed to share. But that pipe must lead the way." So I told that elder that was leading that early morning pipe ceremony, I have yet to see a gathering like that, where people sit in a circle, where that pipe will lead the way, and allow the spirit of the people to talk and to share. And that healing will come within that circle. And that healing will happen. So when I look at the title today, when I prayed about it, when I seen that red cloth come in yesterday, I felt the power of it, the spirit of it. And I remembered my 3 aunties, which my family and I are going to be sharing tomorrow, that never came home, that we never knew about. The burial sites, the missing children, and the trauma. My grandpa reminded me early this morning, and it made a whole lot of sense. He says, "No, Shim, my grandson. What you see, what's happening, or what happened to you, your ancestors, your would have been culture, your language, your way of life, your spirituality, with all those children." He said, "You too was looking for your burial site. you too was looking for your own spirit, your own child. My grandson, he said, it took you a while. He said, take a look at your circle, your life path of where you come from. You'll see what I'm talking about. I see where you are today. My grandson. But you found yourself. You found your burial site. You found yourself, my grandson. Then I was reminded about my first ceremony that I ever went to. A dark ceremony. Didn't know what I was getting into. I was scared because it was dark. And then the big drum started to sound and the singing started to happen. And when that eagle came in, I said, oh, what the heck is that? And then when they started talking, mind you, I didn't offer tobacco. I just went there with my buddies. But now I know I didn't go there for nothing. I went there for a reason. I was taken there. Right away, that grandfather eagle said, my grandson. I finally meet my grandson. I've watched him come from the spirit world. I've watched him arrive through a woman. I've watched him grow up as a child. I've watched him, what was done to him at home, at day school, at the residential school. I've watched him all these years, but he didn't know me. But now, he found me, and I found him. Never again will somebody try to hurt my grandson. Never again. How? Bishtakagagis, he said. He gave me my spirit name. And ever since then, I've walked his way of life. I've lived his way of life. I come from a Christian home of a very beautiful family of 5 boys, and I'm the youngest one. And 6 girls are all still alive. I'm 64 years old today. And just recently, my grandpa told me when I sit alone at home like this, when I meditate and I pray, he says, my grandson, you are a seed. Just live. Just pray. And then he reminded me when I was traveling from the airport when they brought in my auntie from the airport to our home for the wakes. He says, grandson, look this way. And he made me look at the trees. And he said, Egwanik kap mudatatik si beni tamuin. Mina si pinawesiwin. These are the trees that are gifted to carry the gift of perseverance and the gift of patience. They always stand there. Every storm, every fire, they stand there, they don't complain. When spring comes around, they are born again. They are alive. They're made beautiful. But they remain standing. Grandson, When you speak to people, use the land, the water, the trees, and the berries as parables of what you're trying to get across, what you're sharing with the people, because that is food and water that they're thirsty about. So in coming home to the title as my closing, the burial sites and the missing children, and that circle of life that I briefly talk about. Because I say that because I have that right to share these teachings, because I am Papamu Dewa Tamanashene Oweno. That's what I do. So I ask you today, my brothers and my sisters, to let you know that you are so beautiful. I'm reminded of a blade of grass. Let's go see. A blade of grass. Every spring, every summer, we step on it. We cut it. We spit on it. We use our lawnmowers and cut it. Every time we step on it, you see that blade of grass always stands up again. Never says anything to us because of his spirit of kindness. It teaches the spirit of kindness. That's why we say in our language, kakichimo. Kakichimo to tohu tawino. Kakichiso. Meaning, be kind to yourself no matter what. That's what that red rose teaches us, to be kind to ourselves. The stem is our path. The thorns are the wrongs and the mistakes that we made throughout our journey. But at the end of time, in the eyes of our Creator, we are always a beautiful red rose. Always. So, I say to you, in reference to this conference, in reference to your own circle of life path, in respect to your Christian name, you know your own burial site. You know your own missing child in you. Look for it, search for it, and you will find it. Our identity, our language, our spirituality was never lost. It is us who strayed away from this eagle path road. The road is still there, always will be. But the filaments of this eagle feather shows us the choices and decisions that we've made in our journeys. The filaments of this eagle feather is the road that we chose that got us off track. But you can always turn back and come to the main road. The time is still open, but life is short. From the morning to noon to sunset, that's the time that we have to come back to the main road and find your path. It's there. We've never lost it. It is thus that got lost somewhere because somebody else took us in a different path. That's what my grandpa wanted me to share with you. As he always tells me, say it, my grandson, it's not you that's talking, it's us that's talking through you. In closing, I want to thank the organizers for that tobacco, for asking me to share with you. And very quickly, my grandpa wants to share with you. In a dream, she brought me out of my living room, out of my room to my living room, and he showed me that TV, that radio. He says, you know what, grandson, he says, you see that little gadget? That's what you guys listen to every day. Every day you turn it on and you believe everything that you hear in there. And said, look at this one. That's TV. Even this one, this is the one you watch every day. You guys watch it every day. Oh, you're so excited and watching it. You believe everything and you want to be and you want to do what you see in there. And they said, look what's coming. This was many years ago. Look what's coming. I see a Apple Commodore computer sitting there. I said, this is what's coming next. I seen a child sitting there. I said, this is what's going to control you people. This is what's going to take you all over the world. And you'll believe everything in there. And then he showed me a little gadget. Somebody holding a little gadget. He said, this is what's coming. This was before the cell phone. This is what's coming. And he said, this is what's going to kill you. I think I know what he meant by that now. And then the curtains opened up. I see the water, the gold leaves in autumn. And then I see the big hand, it says, Oma, no shim, ta puerta. And then I woke up. I go, Sane, kidnash komit no ni wago maganak. A pigitse, bimati sinoche. Hi, hi.
I like clapping in front of this microphone, isn't it nice and loud? Let's give them another big round of applause. Testimonies like the three you just heard are imperative for the next generation. I wish I had the opportunity to interview my late father. He went to the Brandon Residential School with a lot of Dakota relatives. And when I searched my relatives at the site, Steph, I went some way when I found my dad's signature. I went some way when I saw my uncle's signature right beside them. And so you have to be prepared to hear these kind of testimonies. And it's hard to hear it. It must be even harder to carry it. So I want to acknowledge every single one of you survivors in here who carried that message in your heart until you were ready to talk about it and share it with filmmakers like us, because we will meet you halfway. Then you don't have to carry it anymore. It's with us now, this next generation of filmmakers that are coming up. It's important. It's imperative. So we have, with saying that, we have a room here that will take your testimony. There are resources here that will help you calm your spirit. We have testimonies that are difficult to hear. And when you're coming out of that room, be prepared to gather yourself, gather your thoughts, smudge, do all these things that our elders are telling us to do. That's how we're going to get through this. Take our best practices back to the community and share them. These amazing people, you know, Andrew dropped off his young ones, and he made it here. Dr. Brown, same thing, she made it here. These are so important for our people to come together this way. They say when our people gather this way, our ancestors are with us, Creator is with us. So it's going to be a good day. Tears are going to be shed. We knew that coming in. So let's give them another big round of applause as they make their way down. We'll call on health supports to help. I'm out of jokes. But last night I was here for the dinner, and it was the first time I had seen that red cloth come out and make its appearance the way it did. And so I felt some way, and I know all of you did too. Tears were being shed, and at the same time, we were trying to read the names and as the cloth went by. So I want to acknowledge all the volunteers that are here that carry that cloth. The volunteer force in this city is phenomenal. The Indigenous volunteer force in this city is phenomenal. So let's give all of our volunteers a big round of applause.